Sí, sí, por supuesto. Ok, pero ahora mismo voy a grabar este video. Ay, llámame más luego. 12, 3 horas. Ok, paz. Ciao. Sorry about that. We're back with Lorenzo McCoy at Lorenzo's Scientific Holistic Health Store. The video that I want to do right now before another call comes in deals with energy, energía. A lot of people have a lot of questions about their energy. I don't have the energy that I used to. I can't put it down like I used to when I was 18 years old. I want to do the sex with my baby girl, but I don't have the energy. When I go to work, it's hard to go through a whole day. I've been drinking the different herbal drinks. Well, not the herbal drinks, but the ones they have at the gas station, and they're not working. I get high really fast, get stimulated, then I drop like a falling star. When I wake up in the morning, I used to be so energetic, but now I just don't really feel like getting up out of bed to go to work. I don't feel like getting up out of bed to go to school. I don't feel like getting up to make breakfast for the children, blah, 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 blah. Energía, energy. The problem that we're dealing with, whenever you do not have the proper amount of energy, besides not getting enough sleep, besides getting too much sleep sometimes, the number one cause of it in this particular realm in which we are manifested in right now, in Los Estados Unidos, in the United States, is the fact that we do not eat proper food. You're going to hear me say this a lot. You're going to see this is the basics for most of our problems. I'm going to make this a little brief, but not as brief as a couple of other videos, because those of us who may be new to me, I don't want to throw you off just yet. One thing you will know about me is I take this very seriously. On one hand, I would take it easy with you at first. Then after a while, it may feel like you're being dragged to a certain point where I'm saying either you're going to do it or not. To each his own, and we all have free will to choose what our path is going to be in life. And I will get to a point where I've given you all the information that you need to make your decision. And the last part is going to be, do you want to live or not? Do you want to be a person that's 100 years old and still have your own senses, your own teeth, your own eyesight, your own hair, or just being here healthy, period? Or do you want to be bedridden for 50 of those years and not know who you are, not know where you are, not even know how old you are? You're 100 years old, but you think you're 5. You don't know. That's the difference. Now, of course, for those that we love that are in that state right now, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about those of us who've passed on, who were up there in age and they ate like this and they lived to be that age. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you right now. In terms of energy, first we must tackle what is energy. What is energy to you? What is it? Why do you think you need energy? How come you think you don't have enough energy? For right now, think about what is the most energetic thing in your life. You being from Terra, this land, this earth, this rock, what about your existence is the greatest manifestation of energy that you know? Now, a lot of people might say, God, Jesus, Allah, Jehovah. I'll let you slide with that, but only for 1 second. You don't know your creator until you know your creator's son. The S-U-N, the sun. That most high that's up in the sky, that if it wasn't here, your ass would not be here. Now I know a lot of you may take offense to me saying things like ass, butt, dick, shit. We'll get into that a little bit later, because you don't really know language like you think. The word ass is in your holy books. Even if it wasn't, it's ass is just an ass. Don't be an ass. An ass is something I'm sitting on right now talking to you. I won't diverge and go off on a tangent just yet, but bear with me. Check out the whole video. If it does not resonate with you, don't go cold turkey on knowledge. Find somebody else that resonates with you, that speaks in a way that you understand, that you're not offended by. But if you are here, it's because you probably looked at that title. You need energy, and you don't know why you do not have enough energy anymore. We must first remember what energy is. The sun is the #1 great ball of energy that is in our existence. To just say God by itself really doesn't make you that religious. I know you might think you are, but the Creator is looking at you like you sort of silly because you don't understand the sun. If you don't understand the sun, you don't understand your God, your Creator. You don't understand the universe. You would be nothing without the sun. Your God made it that way. To so-called have a belief in God, those of us who call ourselves conscious, we will say we don't believe in God. I can feel that vibration. What did he just say? We know the Creator. We know God. There's a big difference to us. For us, a child has to believe in things because they don't know any better. Me, I've researched it. I've lived through life. I have children. And like my father used to say, if you want to know God, you have to raise a garden. I've raised life. I understand life. And of course, I'm still learning every day until I'm 3,000 years old. I'm going to keep learning. And even past that point. The thing is that you must realize, it's one thing to say God, but not to understand what God gave you so that you can live here on this planet. What can't you live without? I know a lot of people, I can't live without God. You can't live without the sun that God gave you. Let's go down in hierarchy. Yes, God is at the top. Whatever you call God, your Creator, of course is at the top. But in order to experience God, X on the outside, experience anything on this realm, you must have the sun's energy. We move because of the sun's energy. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into the science. What are you made of? The average person really doesn't have a clue. So when people say you are what you eat, they really don't get it. So I need to step a couple of steps back. When a sun, which is a star, explodes in the universe, it sends out particles. Those particles are what make up you. This rock that we're on right now that is now alive, and the reason why it's not just a rock, is alive because there was a huge explosion at a certain point. And those great furnaces that we call stars, which is what ours is, the one we call the sun, is a small star compared to a lot of other ones. There are stars that are 1,000,000 times size our particular star. But I understand it's the one closest to us, so it's the main one. That's our sun. A star is one big converter of materials. If hydrogen is the most abundant thing in the universe that we can see, it converts that into helium all day long. At the second it has depleted all of that helium, all of the hydrogen to helium, it collapses. Sometimes it collapses so violently that it explodes back out, causing a black hole. Sometimes you have this pulsar that's left there. I'm not gonna get that deep into it. It's fun stuff. I like nerdy stuff like that. But going back to us, before this planet was even finished being formed, and yes, I understand, if you're Christian, still bear with me. You just believe it happened 6,000 years ago. I don't have a problem with that. We still must understand the basics of this science if you were to understand how these herbs are going to help you, how these plants are going to help you. You must understand first who and what you are, your sun children. When this planet was still being formed, where do you think the minerals come from? They have to come from somewhere. The aspects that even make up a planet, where does that molten stuff come from? From other matter that's already floating around in outer space, which came from something else. When things coalesce to become materials in space, how does it happen? It's similar to how drops of water happen here. You must have something first for the tiny particles of water to condense upon before we can even see a drop. Keep that in mind. Same thing happens here when a planet is formed. When stars explode, pow, some of the first elements we get here, magnesium and calcium. We always hear about calcium. I know you think it comes from a cow. I know you do, because television taught you that. So I'm not a guru, I'm not your leader, I'm just a brother who can read. My job is to share things that I found, and I don't have any problem with telling you where I found that information, so you can look it up yourself. Don't believe anything I say, go back and look it up. You do not have to drink a cow's snot in order to get calcium. And let's stop faking the front, stop playing. Okay, I'm gonna tone it down just a little bit. But there's going to be a little crescendo in this talk, because I'm not going to tiptoe around the tulips with you for too much longer. Too many people are dying out here. You do not have to slip into a big fat vat of cow snot in order to be enveloped in calcium. And you're not drinking it for calcium anyway. Stop lying. Stop asking people who do not feed meat to their children, how they gonna get protein? You don't eat meat for protein. You like the way it tastes. You were raised on eating it. You were raised getting up in the morning drinking milk with cookies, eating cereal with milk all up in it. You were raised doing that, not for calcium. You were just trained to do that, period. There's a lot of things we're trained to do that don't make any damn sense. But when you become enlightened, when you become an adult, you put away your childish things. Children drink milk even from their mama's titty, the breast, the memories, the maziwa, for the Swahili brothers out there. But why? It's to give you that start into life. It's the way that God made it. But at a certain point, you put away the childish breast so you can start eating whole fruit and vegetable on your own. You start getting teeth so that you can chew it. That's how it's supposed to go down. Now let's go back to that star. That's where calcium and all the other minerals are coming from. In the beginning of this planet, these stars keep throwing out its essence. Once things coalesce into a material, it can keep letting other minerals stick into it. Also, in the beginning, there were basic minerals here. Now you have molten lava under this small, thin surface, barely a crust. You have volcanic activity, which is making more minerals. That's where your minerals come from. Volcanic activity. Molten lava, which is rocks so hot that it flows like a liquid, coming from the center of this earth. Some minerals are made that way from the basic minerals that came from some star that gave up its life for you to be here. Yeah, sounds fantastic to me. Even if you don't understand it, when you go back and read your Bible, understand that your God set something up for you. It's a dope system. Those of us who speak like us, even if I don't say Jesus and shake and snot and fall out, I am in awe by the whole creation that God allowed us to experience here. But in order to show my appreciation, I'm going to eat the foods that God set here for me. Now, I'm no hypocrite. I've eaten many of dead animals. I've drinking whole vats and gallons of soda. I was a gummy bear fiend not that long ago. So I've been there. I know how it is. I know how sweet certain things taste. I love macaroni and cheese. It's just now I know how to make it without using cow snot. There's a lot of things you can still do to get a nice taste and you don't have to kill yourself for. That's what knowledge is supposed to do. That's putting away those childish things that a lot of people that I meet that call themselves religious, they keep throwing these things out, these sayings, but they don't use it in their own lives. Now we all fall short of the grace, you know what I'm saying, of the Creator, you know, like we all have heard. I understand that. We all are so-called sinners when you sin. I don't necessarily believe you're born into sin. That's a different video. But let's progress more. I have to start with this basis so you can understand energy. You see, I started off talking about stars, cosmic phenomena, astrophysics. Very far from this little shot of so-called energy drink or the 24 ounce whatever of soda amped up caffeine. How do we get from this star exploding to that? We're going to get there. It may seem like it's taking a while, but we're going to get there faster than light years. You know what I mean? It's not going to take 40,000 billion light years. How many 10 to the 23rd powers we go to, however long that is. The 10 billion years or 6,000 years that you believe that this universe has been around really doesn't matter. It's all moot. It's all relative. You come from exploding stars. That's how God made it. No matter what day you say he did that or she did that, no matter if you're an indigenous person, you feel the Great Spirit made you on a certain day, there's certain things that we can all come together and understand. You are made of the stuff that stars are made out of. When you are of this planet, you really are of this planet. Every single thing this planet has is inside you. So yeah, you are supposed to put plants into your mouth to eat, to metabolize, to break down those very basic minerals, and your body will use that and build itself back up. It does it every day. Millions of cells. I forget if it's 10 to the 23rd. That's how many cells you have. So we're talking more than 1,000 or 1,000,000. Those are the cells that make up the human body. That's how many makes up me, makes up you. That's a lot. They die and they are reborn all the time. What are you putting into your mouth to rebuild it is the question. We're still talking about energy right here because it takes energy to do that. It takes energy to digest. It takes energy to wake up. It takes energy to do this. I'm sending electric impulses, electrochemical impulses just to do this. I think it. I send right down these nerves an impulse and tell my hands to do that. It takes energy to do that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. That's why if something's wrong with your energy or something's wrong with the nerves, you take a wire and break it in half. How's that signal going to get through? There's no energy going to get through, so it won't work. Sometimes you see people with something wrong with their energy and it looks just like a robot that has a short in it. And they do stuff like this. Energy's there, but something's wrong with the pathways. We are electrochemical spiritual beings. It's very interesting. I love it. I love the deep science of it. I understand most people don't really give a damn. Where is my energy? How can I keep my dick erect? How come my libido's gone? My husband wants it. I can go for years and not even want to do it. What happened to my energy? What's wrong with me? I got these little grandchildren running around me all the time. I would like to play with them. I do not have the energy. I can't even pick them up. I feel like my whole back is going to snap in half. What did I start with? Stars. That's where your energy comes from. You don't believe me? Go and put some gas into your car. How does that work? Where does gas come from? Where does petroleum come from? What is petrol? Plants. That's all. Old ass plants that have been here for millions of years. They got smashed to a certain point. You have peat. You got moss from different forests and things. You have bugs, animals. You have all life that have taken the energy from the sun and is still inside of them, and they get squished down until you have something like coal at one point, and you keep smashing. At another point you will have crude oil. You know what I mean? You have something that's very combustible. But why is it combustible? When you set fire to it, all of that sun's energy is coming back out. That's exactly what's happening. If you want to understand energy, what is atomic energy? Bear with me. I have to start right here. I have to go a little bit deeper than the drinks you're trying to drink for energy. I'm using this information not to bore you, but to show you that you don't have a clue what energy is yet. We're not going to get that deep into FTP, ATP, how energy transfers in the body. We don't have to get that deep. But I want to start off a little bit deeper than what you're already thinking, to show you that it's even deeper than taking my herbs. Along with taking my herbs, I have to show you what you're doing to mess up your energy. Yeah, these herbs are going to heal you, but it's only because they're going to help you to heal yourself. It's not my job to heal you. It is your job. You paid me to give you the information to do it correctly. That's the only thing I'm supposed to do. That's the only thing I'm going to do. Free will. We all have the free will to choose what path we want to be on. If you want to eat a big fat bologna sandwich right after this, that's on you. That's all good. I understand. Do your thing. It's all to the good. When your stomach starts hurting, you need a certain amount of energy to take care of that situation. Now you have this dead animal ass lips, animal brains, animal guts all ground up in that bologna sandwich or hot dog. Your body has to deal with that now. I understand. But people need to learn how to do the wrong thing the right way. If you're going to eat like that, you need to balance out the amount of live plants that you're eating along with that. Now you're not going to live long eating bologna sandwiches and drink Kool-Aid every day. Just not. Going back to the energy, the sun comes first. How long can you live without the sun? If the sun disappears for 1 second, your whole world will disappear immediately. The gravitational pull that keeps this planet in orbit, you need that sun. 1 Earth second, and I say Earth second for those who understand the astrophysics of time. That's what we call seconds have nothing to do with the sun relative to itself. It is us relative to the sun. I don't want to get that deep, but I love studying relativity. General relativity, special relativity, the phenomena that happens in the ether, the blackness of space, the black matter, all of that stuff turns me on. It gets me excited. Sorry. I regress. But that energy, what I'm trying to impose upon you, I'm actually reprogramming you right now. I'm joking and everything, but this is all about programming. I'm telling you something that most people aren't going to tell you about energy. It's deeper than you getting caffeine shots. Waking up every day, how come you got to drink so much coffee and I don't? I don't have to wake up drinking coffee. I don't need that white sugar all around me all the time. And I know what it is to be a sugar fiend. Told you I was the gummy bear guru at one point in time, not that long ago. How long can you live without the sun? Maybe 1 second. Less than that. You will never be here long enough to figure it out. After that, a lot of people go right to, oh, you need food. That's way down the list. You need water. It's not as high up as you think. Right after that, you need oxygen. You need air to breathe. Going back to the formation of this planet, those saying that same volcanic activity spewing stuff out into, I guess we can call it the air at this point. You have a gravitational pull from that big piece of matter. Anything that gets a certain degree, a certain mass, it starts to create its own gravitational pull, and it starts to pull in a so-called atmosphere, which is all that stuff that was coming out of that volcanic ash, and everything else that was coming deep from inside the earth that was combusting and spewing out of the volcanoes. Carbon dioxide is one thing in particular. You still don't even have oxygen yet until later on, until you have when you do start getting hydrogen to connect to oxygen, making water, and you start having plant material to breathe out oxygen, then you start having oxygen inside the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? You got a nitrogen cycle later on, whether it's a water cycle, a nitrogen cycle going in and out. And later on, you know, this place is conducive for us. There's a reason why plants had to be created first until we can get here and complete that symbiotic relationship that we have with plants. Yes, it's still the sun's energy. So you can live for about, what, 4 minutes without oxygen. If you go to about, some say 11 minutes, if they can bring you back, you're going to have a certain amount of brain damage. And as each minute past that point, it will make no sense for them to bring you back, even if they could, because you will be in a so-called vegetative state. Sun, oxygen. Now we can talk about water. You can live for about, what, 4 days without water? Some people say a week. But that depends. If you're in the desert where all of your water is coming out of your pores, and every time you urinate you're losing water, you might last about 3 days, but most people might be dead in 24 hours. Depending on if they know how to survive in a desert or not, and most people don't. Now we can talk about food. You can go for about a month without food. That is if you're in shape. Most of us might die after about 2 weeks. But you can live a long time compared to not having the sun, not having air, not having water. You can live for a while without food. I know you don't feel like it. I missed breakfast this morning. Oh, it's past 12. I was supposed to eat lunch. It's 5 o'clock. Ah, I get it. I know how that works. Going back to the sun again, that's where your energy comes from. We eat plants because that's how we get the sun's energy out of those plants. I'm making this long video to get you to understand it's deeper than you drinking something. There's a chemical cocktail of madness, which I've drinking a lot of myself. Now, I'm not gonna front. When I had to make that long trip to Chicago from here to St. Louis, and I had to do it all in the same day and get back here that same day back in St. Louis, I get one of those high octane petroleum type drinks, damn near killing myself, because I was wired and had to make that long trip, go there and see my children, get some work done, come right back wired, killing myself. That's not energy per se, that's just getting high, legally high on these mad drinks, these petroleum type concoctions. But true energy When I have all my herbs with me, I know how to make a very good herb. Back in the day, I used to put some Chinese ephedra in it. I put some yohimbe in that mug. Any type of things that stimulates the mind, the body. Put some ginkgo in that mug, keeping my brain alert. I put anything that has anything to do with stimulants. I put some, what is that? I don't know. A lot of the. I put 40 in that mug. Strong back, things that a lot of people use for male prowess, because I know it helps out the circulatory system, and a lot of them things are stimulants. I put some cola nuts, ground cola nuts in that mug, and make some nice tea, and that's your natural caffeine. And I'll make a drink that you stay up for 3 days if you had to drive straight. That's how I would rather do it than drinking a lot of things I have drinking, or whatever is the correct way of saying it, when I didn't have my herbs with me. You don't want to keep doing that. It will destroy you. Going back to those plants one more time. Hopefully now you're getting the picture of your energy. I'm giving you this information so that you can understand what energy is first before we can even get into how these herbs are going to help you. That's the first thing you need to know, is what energy is. It comes from your sun. Get outside and play in the sun. Plants, just like our blood, they have chlorophyll. A lot of us who remember Biology 101, that is what the plants use to photosynthesize the sun's energy. Without that, the plants would be dead, just like we'll be dead without the plants and the oxygen and the sun. In order for those plants to absorb the energy from the sun, they use chlorophyll. Their leaves spread out to get more sun. And we have to eat the plants to get that energy into us. I'm going to make this a little brief. I'm going to condense a lot because I don't want to lose too many people. A lot of people, I don't want to hear that shit. Shit, scheisse, excrement, feca, mierda, merd. All means shit. Don't be offended. Shit is something we all do. Shit is something we all go through from time to time. Get over it, we're adults. It's just a word. It's biblical also. But check it. The plants take the energy from the sun. We eat the plants to extract that energy. We metabolize it, break it down, just like what fire does. We metabolize it, metabolism, metabolic reactions. We break it down and we assimilate it into our system, and we use that energy. Some of the simple sugars like glucose, monosaccharides and things, glucose makes up the cells of the plants and our cells. The structure of a plant, those basic, what is that? I guess it's one carbon and carboxyls. We don't have to go that far because I don't even remember now. Think about it. Monosaccharides, you got one carbon atom, then you got water. Yeah, that's carbon hydroxide, right? You got basic simple things that are the building blocks of plants that makes up the cells of the plants, that makes up the basic structure of a plant. Those are things that you kill when you cook the damn greens for 3 hours. Those things that still crunch when you don't cook them. And when you think you have to go ahead and heat it up and steam them, that don't mean steam them for 30 minutes either. Steam them just enough for they get a little warm maybe. But if you lose that crunch, you have totally taken away the integrity of those cell bodies, and you have totally annihilated the nutrients of that plant. So you're eating dead bodies. You might as well go to McDoodles and get you a big burger and some fries. You're lying to yourself. I eat vegetables all the time. You eat dead bodies. Canned aluminum dead bodies floating in formaldehyde. Go to the morgue and get you a spoon and fork. Chow down. No, you're not going to get much energy from that. The optimum energy that you will receive is by eating the plants, be they called a fruit, that part of the plant that has the regenerative properties of that plant, the seeds, the ovum, or all the other parts that we call vegetables. It could be a seed by itself, it could be the flesh, the skin, the so-called meat of a fruit or a vegetable, stems, the bark, the other parts we call herbs, the tubers, roots, the grasses, la hierba, the herbs, the grasses. All of those things are still plants. But you call it herbs and spices because some people only can think of a lot of herbs we use have to do with taste, but they give us more than a certain taste. They are the medicine that our Creator has given for us to use in order to sustain ourselves on this planet. There's a lot of other things I was going to talk about, but that I'm going to go off on a tangent just for one more second. A lot of people always wonder how these things work. What is the magic of it? It is as simple as this, since I already gave you an introduction on what these plants do. These plants were the first life forms here. Even if you believe in your Bible that God created the plants and everything first, it still falls in line with what I'm telling you. They were here before humans were here. They've been here, and in your mind, I forgot how many days God made the plants and how long it was before He made humans. They were here so much longer than you. They know this planet way better than you do. Certain plants, when little bitty animals and insects and rodents were around to eat the plants started emitting different types of energy that comes out as amber, other toxins like latex from a tree. Was that the rubber tree? It might be thorns. It might be some type of sticky pollen-like substance that causes animals to itch or something like that. The animals emit different defense mechanisms to save themselves. By the time we came here, there are certain herbs who have that same property that can help your ass. So when you think about it like that, it is very scientific. The green of a plant, you might have heard of beta carotene, but you may not have heard of alpha carotene. What is a carotenoid? Now that's scientific. It's for those like, does he know what he's talking about? I deal with the basics of science. I can use the basics of science and save people's lives where a lot of my PhD friends are not able to save their own. I can use genetics 101 classes, biology 101, and I've taken a lot more, but everything I'm telling you about, I've taken a lot of physics classes and stuff like that, read a lot of books. I'm not a physics major. I just like it. I love science. But I can deal with just the beginnings, the 101 classes, and show you how you can heal yourselves. I'm going to keep it very simple. How do herbs work? They cause different, I guess we can call it changes into your body just by their mere presence. That's how it works. Certain foods, herbs, have certain chemical properties, phytonutrients. I'm going to use the word chemical since we're used to chemicals. They have certain properties that cause certain reactions in themselves. So when you eat them or rub it on your skin, you can get that same reaction. Carotenoids are that part of a plant. You usually see them during the fall, which is around this time right now, when you usually don't see them because there's so much chlorophyll in the plants. You see green, but in the fall, the plant's manufacture of chlorophyll starts going down, and you can see the yellows, you can see the oranges and reds in the leaves. Those are carotenoids. Those are the different reasons why you're supposed to eat apples, peaches, pears, bananas. You're seeing all these reds, greens, and yellows. Red, greens, yellows, and oranges. Carotenoids and chlorophyll is what we're dealing with. They come from plants. What do plants use carotenoids for? it filters out a certain frequency of light from the sun that will kill it if it didn't filter it out. It's in the blue realm of light that will totally destroy that plant. It's too powerful. It will kill life. So the plants have developed. God made it that way. For those who are like, oh, they did it on their own. God made it that way. In order for the plant to protect itself, it produces carotenoids. Animals are not able to do that. The only animal that I think, now we get scientific, I think aphids might be the only thing in the animal kingdom that can assimilate on its own carotenoids, keratins. I think they're the only ones that I can think of. That's why we have to eat plants in order to get that into us. We might have heard that beta carotene is good for the eyes. A lot of things we've heard, but we get deep into the science. Everything we need comes from plants. That which we can make when we give ourselves the basic building blocks of life, our body takes it from there and makes what else we need. That's why we don't have energy. That's why we're out of energy, because we don't eat what contains the sun's energy. Simple as that. It's not magic. The magic comes from eating the plants that have so many different properties that we don't understand. The spirit of those plants. Oh, you said spirit of the plants. Whatever you want to call it, the energy of the plants. You have to eat a live plant in order to assimilate that energy. You can't eat dead plants and expect to get live energy from it. Dummy. Why did I say that? Because I want to shock your mind and reprogram you. We're doing dead end type of things. I'm going to mix this all in now. I had it in my mind in different sections, but I'm throwing it all at you now. Energy, you want it. You work a dead end job, wonder why you have no energy. You're in a dead end relationship. You got a deadbeat daddy. You got a deadbeat guy you live with. You got a deadbeat woman you live with. You got deadbeat children that you raised, which is your fault, because you put them in front of some video game and a television and you let them put filth in his ears. You got a deadbeat child doing deadbeat things in the streets, causing you a lot of problems. All of your energy is being drained. You live with a vampire, draining all of your energy. That's the type of relationships that you have. You keep hanging around family members that keep draining you. Whenever you have an idea of being free and a free spirit, they drain you. You can't do that. You need to do this. You need to do that. But their lives are going down the shitter. Of course you're not going to have energy. You're not putting yourself in an arena where energy flourishes. You want sun energy, but you don't go outside that much. You stay inside in the air conditioning. You stay inside the heat, calefacción units. You stay in there inside, and you don't even walk outside into the sun's energy to let Ra go over your body. I would be remiss to not end off on a positive note. I would like to conclude this by just reiterating most of the main aspects of why we don't have the proper energy like we should. For one, get out into the sun, please. Play in the sun. Get as much sun as possible. Breathe nice, free, fresh air. Eat 100% raw fruits and vegetables as much as possible. Now, of course, as much as possible is all the time, depending on where you live. We live in the United States where you can get it. We just have to change our lifestyle for that. I know most won't do it. So everybody knows that at least if you're not becoming 100% vegetarian, I know most people aren't going to do that. Cut out all the cow's milk. That's what's draining your energy too. Get out of toxic relationships, be it your job, family, if you're doing a dating thing or something like that. Have a better relationship with your children. Have a better relationship with your parents. have a better relationships with your siblings and your co-workers. If you can't do that, get out of there. Go somewhere else. Sometimes you have to get up and move. Get out of your neighborhood. If you live in a dangerous neighborhood, get out. If people are getting shot all the time in your neighborhood, the amount of cortisone that your body is spewing out from your adrenals is ridiculous. And I believe that when something finally happens to you, that is your fault. Because there's a lot of broke people. You can go be broke in another neighborhood. You can be broke in a trailer park where the worst that's going to happen is, I don't know, vandalism and a lot of things like that. Not saying that death doesn't happen, but there are certain environments, especially where the so-called African American lives, where it's hot, as they say. People dying all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're just waiting for your turn. I believe in moving. If you can't get or are unable to get a lot of people together to fight and save at least your neighborhood, get out of there. Please, just get up out of there. You can deal with it better from the outside and get your resource together and hook it up once you go back. If you're an adult working in that environment, helping those children out, I understand why you're there. But if you're raising your own children, get your children up out of there. You don't have to risk the lives of your children to build a better community for yourself. If it's gotten that bad, you by yourself aren't going to do it anyway. Get your children up out of there. Get your children out of that school district. They don't have to go somewhere where it's not so-called black anyway. Just go somewhere else where it's safe, where they're really going to learn. That drains your energy. Any type of so-called stress, and I have to add this point too. The way that the human brain works, that's going to be a different subject, but I will touch upon it right now. Your brain doesn't know what's true or false. Your brain cannot distinguish between dream and reality. It doesn't know. The Creator has to give us certain things that the reason why when you wake up from a dream in the morning time, a lot of us don't remember that dream. You know, even if you don't remember that dream, you always dream every single night. It's just a lot of us aren't connected to our dreamscape time to bring it back to here. What am I saying? The human brain never stops working. You always see things. And your mind doesn't know the difference. That's why when you get on a, what they call it, roller coaster, that's why it feels exhilarating. Because your mind thinks you're really about to die, and all that cortisol gets thrust into your bloodstream. Your adrenals are firing. You don't know what's going on. Your mind is holding on tight because you actually think you're about to die. That's the fun of it. Your mind, you can keep getting on that same ride. Now, you can't trick yourself. There is something that's a type of psychological exhaustion that happens to where you sort of get used to that, and after a while, oh, that roller coaster doesn't mean anything. You can jump and do the bungee cord thing, and your stomach feels like your stomach is going up into your heart. All of those things are firing. You got dopamine firing in your brain because it feels like you're about to die. It's trying to give you everything that it needs to save your life. It doesn't know you're not in danger, even though people do die from a lot of those activities, but your mind doesn't know the difference. Why am I saying that right now? When you put yourself in a very toxic relationship, be it at a job, school, living conditions, whatever type of relationship, even inside your body by not eating correctly, basically what happens is you have so many hormones built up, and cortisol is one of the biggest things that we talk about a lot in terms of physical stress in the body. You have to be able to emit the proper enzymes, the proper other anti-hormones to turn it back off. If it doesn't turn off, your mind is always in an excited state, and that wears you down. That's where fatigue can come from too. A lot of us are fighting parasites. You need these herbs to kill certain parasites. You need some wormwood, you need some cayenne pepper, you need some slippery elm bark, you need some cascara sagrada, you need some senna. You need to rid your body of a lot of things. You need some cranberry juice, some cranberry powder. You need some garlic. You need a lot of these different plants that's how they save themselves. They make certain phytonutrients and different chemicals to kill certain parasites that might eat them. That's where the magic comes from. That's why people, I don't see how that's going to work. How is a herb going to, only a drug can do this. You don't know that 80% of your drugs come from herbs. Where do you think it came from? Where do you think aspirin comes from? Where do you think X-Lax comes from? That's the center plant right there. Willow bark, that's your aspirin. You know, burnt up willow bark, that's what they use to pump your stomach when you take too many pharmaceutical drugs, and they got to save you by using plant material. Ain't that something? We're going to get into that later though. But I just wanted to end this off with something positive. Yeah, I speak pretty harshly. I get on people that call themselves religious because I actually believe that the so-called Christian, the so-called Muslim, the so-called whatever your religion persuasion is, you're supposed to be the most healthiest out of everyone. You're supposed to be the ones where everybody else can see you and see, man, that's how you follow God's word. And we should be able to see that on your outside and your inside, not just being a good person. Oh, she's a very sweet person. Oh, he's a very good guy. He's a good God-fearing person. No, you don't fear God. Not at all. Because you put into your temple, according to your book, it says that that's not even your body. That is the temple of your Creator. Once again, I don't want to get that harsh on you right now. This is the ending. I will be remiss again to not always end off on a positive note. I speak like this out of love. If I can just come to you and say, take these herbs, cleanse your body, and this is what you should be eating, and everybody does it, and we all just go and walk down the yellow brick road to happiness and the end, everything is all good. But it doesn't happen that way. Because right now you see me, I don't have billions of dollars to stay in your face like on a commercial. They spend billions to control your behavior. They understand how your mind works. They understand that the subconscious doesn't even speak in words, it speaks in pictures. They flash different pictures. They can tell you what to eat. A lot of things you believe, you get up and brush your teeth with rat poison every morning, and you think you're doing it because you're intelligent. That's another video. Rat poison, what are you talking about? Sodium chloride, right? Sodium fluoride, I'm sorry, was one of the main ingredients in rat poison. When I found it out, I looked on the back of the little tube, and it really does say, if you use too much more than for brushing your teeth, go call poison control. And then they started changing, instead of saying poison control, because of course something intelligent should come out and say, I'm brushing my teeth with poison. So it might say, seek professional help immediately. But yeah, they used to come out and say, it used to be in red, call poison control immediately. But we brush our teeth with it. When you can wake up and eat a nice big crunchy apple and get that same feeling on your teeth, nice and smooth. And I don't care how many onions you ate. I've brushed my teeth and brushed my tongue and still can taste onions, but if I eat a nice big crunchy apple, it's all gone. It cleans it better than even that. I'm not telling you not to brush your damn teeth. People always take shit to the extreme. What I'm saying is the toothpaste that you're using doesn't have to be fluoridated toothpaste. The water you're drinking doesn't have to be tap fluoridated, chlorinated, bleachified water. I'm saying I love you, all my true human beings who want to live and make a better life for themselves and their children, to please take heed and eat the food that our Creator made for us. Once again, this is Lorenzo McCoy, over and out. Give me a holler. I am the inventor of the Detox and Nutritive formulas. Get at me. $14.95 per bottle. When you get them both at the same time, it's $24.99. Llámame. Buenas noches. I'm out.